But the fight isn't over. There is one orc left. And this is the moment that really matters for the lore. This last silverback doesn't run away.
No, it charges.
And it's not just swinging wildly. The text says it has a two-handed battle axe, and it actually lures Lovin into a rhythm.
That's high-level combat IQ. The orc establishes a pattern, swing, swing, swing. It's waiting for Lovin to get comfortable blocking. Then it breaks the rhythm. It pauses and thrusts the spiked top of the axe.
Even Lovin is impressed. He notes that most humans or dwarves wouldn't have the brain power for that, let alone an orc.
It forces you, the listener, to ask, is this training? Is this evolution? Or is this something else, like possession? Normal orcs don't fight with variable timing.
Lovin is still better, though. He ducks the thrust, spins, and hamstrings the orc. And then, well, the finisher here is pretty visceral.
Oh, yeah.
He holds the scimitars like ice picks and drives them straight into the orc's eyes.
It's brutal, but in the context of Alanthea, you have to be sure. Some creatures regenerate, some have thick hives. The eye sockets are a universal weak point. It's a professional killer's choice.
So the snow settles. Grief looks at all the carnage and asks the big question. Since when have orcs started patrolling the wilds?
And Levin admits it. They don't know the why yet, but they know there is one person or thing leading them.
Thing. That word does a lot of heavy lifting there.
It does. It implies something non-humanoid, maybe a demon, maybe a dragon, a lich. It suggests that the orcs are just the pawns of a much darker, much smarter intelligence.
Lovin then pivots to the job offer. He puts on his innocent child smile and asks if Grief can help the city of Icemule out for once.
Which is so rich, considering Grief has apparently saved the city multiple times before. But it reestablishes their partnership. The Lord needs his magus. The political power needs the arcane firepower.
They start walking toward the southern gate. It's fully night now, and we get one last piece of gear porn, if you'll excuse the term. Grief summons his staff.
And it's not just a walking stick. He whispers a word, and it just materializes. Glossy black, darker than the night itself, covered in runes, and it's topped with a golden dragon's claw holding a crystal sphere.
That sounds like endgame equipment to me.
Oh, it absolutely is. And then Grief speaks the word Shurak.
And the sphere lights up.
It's a total power move. Shurak is the elven word for light. But it's the reaction from Lovin that sells it. His mouth just drops open. He realizes that while he was busy becoming a politician and upgrading his wardrobe, Grief was out there unlocking high-tier sorcery.
Lovin gets a Rolton-eating grin on his face. By the way, for those who don't know, what's a Rolton?
Think of a Rolton as a bison-sized sheep with horns. They're common livestock in Alanthea. So a Rolton-eating grin is like a wolf looking at a sheep pen. It implies pure mischief and hunger.
Lovin says, looks like we have a lot of catching up to do, and he repeats it. It feels like he's not just talking about their friendship.
No, not at all. He's acknowledging that the board has changed. Catching up means aligning their new capabilities. They aren't the same people they were 10 years ago. They are deadlier, richer, and more powerful. And they're going to need all of that to face whatever is controlling those orcs.
The story ends with them walking toward the city, spirits lifted. But the narrator hits us with an ellipsis. For the time being, at least.
And that's the cliffhanger. The immediate threat is dead. Those 5 orcs are cooling in the snow. But the thing that sent them is still out there. The organization is still intact.
So if we zoom out, what's the takeaway for our listener? Why does this specific story matter in the grand scheme of, fantasy narratives?
I think it matters because it totally deconstructs the idea of safety in a high fantasy world. Usually, the city is the safe zone. The walls protect you. But Dimmerino is showing us that the threat is evolving. If the monsters are learning tactics, if they're organizing into patrols, then the walls of Icemule Trace aren't a barrier anymore, they're a cage.
And it highlights the necessity of adaptation. Grief wanted to retire. He wanted to sit on a sofa. But the world doesn't let you retire. If you stop evolving, the silverback orc with the battle axe takes your head off.
Exactly. You have to keep sharpening the scimitars or you die.
Well, on that cheery note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into A Meeting of Fates. It's a short story, but man, it packs a lot of world building into just a few pages.
It really does, and I'm still worried about Grief's furniture.
We can only hope he has a spell for upholstery cleaning. Here's a final thought for you to chew on as you go about your day. We saw orcs, creatures historically defined by chaos and stupidity, executing complex feints and coordinated patrols. In our own history, whenever a disorganized tribal force suddenly finds unity and discipline, it usually signals the rise of an empire or a tyrant. If that's happening in the frozen north, is Icemule Trace a sanctuary, or is it just the first domino waiting to fall? Thanks for listening. Stay curious and watch your back in the snow.